Hey, Coach Hancock here with the Wrestling Vault, here with Coach Lorek from Crown Point, Indiana. He's got his Crown Point team in the national rankings and has been at Crown Point, I think, for approximately about 5 years now. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hey, tell us a little bit about your background. SI, I believe you, right? And then over to Crown Point. Talk to us a little bit about your past and how you ended up at Crown Point.
Yeah, I grew up in Illinois, wrestled in the western suburbs, hotbed for wrestling. So wrestled there, started age 6 all the way up through college. Went out to I started out at Iowa State for a year. Then I transferred to Southern Illinois. Wrestled all through college. Had a few bumps in the road as far as health issues, knee issues, but like anyone, you get that far down the road. But no, wrestled in college, had a pretty successful college career. Then moved back home with my family. Moved out to Crown Point. So I got a teaching job at one place, and then I already knew the head coach. I had a brother that was wrestling for Scott Blink, who was the head coach at the time. And I had another brother who was one of the assistant coaches. So when I got out of college, my brother and I kind of switched spots and started coaching for Coach Flink back in 2005, 2006. I was a assistant coach for him for about 10 years. And then about 5-6 years ago, I took over the program after Coach Flink retired. And that's how I'm here. So I've been a Bulldog, Crown Point Bulldog my whole coaching career. Wouldn't want it any other way.
That's awesome. Hey, you got your dogs ranked in #1 in the state of Indiana and top 15 in the country. Talk to us a little bit about your schedule this year, what events you're looking forward to, and and so on. Your team.
We're doing pretty well right now. Right now we're I forget where we're ranked, 1 or 2 up. We're up there. It changes from week to week. I think we're ranked 13th in the country right now. But right now, as far as our schedule goes, we want to get more nationally ranked teams on our schedule. We want to compete. So we have our conference. We have our conference matches that we're locked into. We do wrestle Mount Carmel of Chicago end of January, right before our state series, which is a great way. The way I look at it is when Team USA won the Olympics. They played the Soviet Union right before the Olympics. So I figured, well, hey, before our state series, we're gonna find the toughest team we can wrestle in our area. And that's Mount Carmel. So we want to wrestle them, and there's a great history there between their coaching staff and my coaching staff, and all those guys at Mount Carmel and the guys at Crown Point. They all work out of the RWA club with Alex Sertzis. So it'll be a pretty exciting event. We are hosting the Carnahan Invite. That's our national tournament. That's our tournament, and we really bumped up the competition there this year. We've got St. Pierre Scram coming out of Ohio, Davidson, Michigan, Lowell, Michigan. We've got Legacy Academy out of Ohio, Marmium Academy, and Homewood Flossmoor out of Illinois, and then Brownsburg High School and us. So that's definitely, I think there's like 21 nationally ranked kids at the tournaments. It's insane, but I figure if we're going to host a tournament, we want to host one that's worthy. That's worthy of a lot of teams, and we want to bring in the best talent.
Coach, talk a little bit about your staff and how you assembled quite an awesome staff, and what you think is important in putting together a staff for a high school program.
Yeah, when I started, it was kind of like we lost all of our coaches. I'd been here for so long. Our head coach retired. Another one of our longtime assistant coaches, he moved on in his career. So I brought in a couple guys, but I knew I needed more. If you want to compete at a high level, you need guys that are as passionate as you are. So that's what I went out looking for. So my head assistant coach, Bill Hawkins, we actually coached together when I first came to Crown Point before he left, and went into the private sector to coach. So I brought him back. He helped build RWA wrestling. He's done a wealth of great things for Indiana wrestling. So I knew I wanted to bring him back. And then he brought along his assistant, which was Vince Sesta. Vince Sessa has a wealth of knowledge. He has been, he's coached at RWA and all kinds of different academies, and they both wrestle at the college level. They both travel the country. They're pretty invested. They got their own kids that are wrestling for us. They're both in 8th grade. So I wanted to surround myself with people that were like-minded, that wanted the same things that I wanted. So that's where we started from. And then, Bill and Vince helped me rebrand and rebuild our youth program. Those guys are nonstop. They're always out there hitting the road. If I can't do it, they're out there. So they bring a wealth of knowledge and experience. And then, we picked up Scott Hinkle, who is our former head coach at Purdue. And it just worked out well. Scott, relocated back to Lowell, Indiana, which is like south of us. And he asked if he could come volunteer. And hard to say no to that. So, and Scott's fantastic. He still, he works for Purdue in their engineering department. But, he's with us a few times a week, always looking to help out. So it's, we have Scott, and then Scott's brother Dave joined us. Dave had coached on several coaching staffs in the area, and he wanted to coach with his brother. So we got Coach Dave Hinkle. And then Darden Shurg, defending national champion from Wabash College, was a Crown Point High School wrestler for us. I snatched him at what I call during COVID time because everything was shut down. And I told him, I said, hey, I knew that he would, when people realized he was out there, they were going to want him. And I knew there were some openings coming. I said, hey, I can't guarantee, I don't know where we'll have you coach, but I want you to coach, but I know I can get you a teaching position. So he liked that. So we got him on board, and now he's with us. He's another one of my assistants. And then we got other volunteers. Anthony Hawkins, he's a pretty successful former Crown Point wrestler. Drew Hughes, who just got out of Michigan State. He's getting settled into his new job and post college, but he comes up. He helps more at the club than our high school team, but when he can, he comes and helps out at the high school. And then my last coach is Branden Cosgrove, who is another guy who's just dedicated. He helps with our club. He'll travel anywhere for us, and he's very passionate. So my main purpose was to surround people that wanted the same things that I wanted, which is what's best for the kids, and who love wrestling. So I think we have that. My style as far as practices go is we kind of have a workshop mentality. If someone's got something, we have a plan, but if someone has something they want to bring into the table, we talk about it. And then, I show all the technique. I run everything. I'll plan everything. I'll show what I want to show, share what I want to share, but I also let my other coaches get involved too, because there's things that they might see or they might know that I don't. And I always feel like some kids, they need a little different voice sometimes, or different perspective. So that's where that coaching workshop comes into play. I just feel like everyone's got something valuable to share, and as long as we keep it organized and on track, it works out really well for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. What an experienced staff. What do you say to the young coach, right, who's maybe budgeted for 1 or 2 coaches and wants to develop a staff somewhat like you have? So what does it take to develop that staff? What do you say to that young coach who says, hey, I don't have a lot of wrestling knowledge, and we don't have a ton of alums in our program? What are some of the things that maybe they can do to help build their staffs?
You know what? In the perfect world, you want a coach that's super experienced, but me being a teacher first, you want a coach that's going to take care of the kids, that's going to keep things, if I get a coach that's organized, responsible, he can work with kids, work with parents, be on time, I would start there. So if you got a teacher in the building, someone in your community, and they're just a good person, and they like working with kids, and they can communicate with the parents, and they're reliable, then that's a great place to start. You can always teach them wrestling. You can teach them the technique, the skills, but you can't teach being a good person and treating kids well.
Yeah, that's a great point. What does your program look like? Do you have a youth system, a middle school level and a high school level?
Yeah, we have a I'll call it a 3-level program. We have a youth program, Bulldog Youth League. That's our in-town program. That's mostly for like real little guys, pre-K, kindergarten, all the way up to maybe about second or third grade. And that's as much for the kids as it is for the parents to get them interested in wrestling, kind of discover it. If they like it, then we move them on to our club. Our club goes from K to 8th grade. We travel locally, we travel nationally. Then we have our middle school program. We have 2 middle schools. So what the kids will do is they'll do the middle school season, and then when the middle school is over, they'll come join our club and do club from January 1st all the way until the end of May. And then we have our high school team. So we have a vertical program. We're moving from get them young, keep them moving through the program. Sometimes we lose them, and sometimes we get the ones we lose, we get back. But we try to have something for every level of kid, every level of parent. We got parents that they want their kid to wrestle for 2 months and be done. We got parents that want to wrestle 7 days a week all year. So we definitely have a coach and a program for all types of wrestling families.
Great advice. That's awesome. Real quick, how do you coach a guy like Esse Mendez, world team member, recently committed to Ohio State? Was ranked obviously #1 pound for pound wrestler for a long time. How do you coach him? And then how do you coach the others in the room that obviously aren't on his level?
That's a great question. Well, with a guy like Esse, you don't treat him like he's just his wrestling IQ is very high in his experience. So you don't treat him like anyone else. You show him the respect that he's earned and he deserves on the wrestling mat. Off the wrestling mat, yeah, you treat him like any other high school kid. Like he's got to go to class and he's got to get grades and be on time and be responsible. But as a wrestler, a kid like that, you listen. If he has a suggestion or, he asks a lot of questions. And we have a wide variety. I have a few coaches that, I'm fortunate. Coach Hawkins and Sessa, they've known Esse a long time. Esse came up through the club level with him, so they know Esse really well, and they really do know what he needs. Coach Sessa travels with Esse a lot as far as going to the world team trials and this and that. But no, when a kid and Esse doesn't say a lot, but when he does, you take time to let him share his thoughts and ideas. And I give him a lot of opportunities to do that. He doesn't always share, but when he does, a lot of the kids will stop and listen. But yeah, and then you try to take care of the younger guys too. What I've actually discovered is from Coach Powell at Oak Park, River Forest, is that you can't teach when you got a guy like Esse Mendez. You can't teach to the lowest level. You can't teach to the lowest level. You have to teach. You set the bar high, and then you help the kids along the way reach that level. And that's why people laugh. We've got 8, 10 coaches, but we've got all different levels. And I teach special ed, so I'm pretty used to teaching a diverse group with different levels. So that's what we do. We say, hey, this is the technique, and then we help the kids pick up. For a guy like Esse, he just needs to see it, knows what he needs to do, and then goes to work. And then we'll jump in if we need to, or he'll ask questions. But I like to let the workers work, and he's one of our workers. We let him go to work. Our younger guys, we'll break the technique down. Say, hey, you may not be able to do it. This move is A, B, C. Maybe you can only do A, so focus on A. But by the end of the season, these kids find themselves doing something they couldn't do at the start of the season. So I think we set the bar high, the expectations are high, and the kids, for the most part, need them.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think I listened to Coach Paul in that wrestling mindset. I think broadcast when he talked about, I utilize that same philosophy is let's coach the top 20% of the room. Let's not coach the bottom 80.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Well, Coach, we know you're busy in class right now. We wanted to pick your brain for as long as we could. It looks like you're on the move.
No, you're good. I'm actually just going to get my battery charger, man. So if you got anything else, fire away.
Yeah, talk to us a little bit about the Indiana structure, right? Not many people understand the Indiana semi-state. Team states are in January. Individual states are at the end of the year. Talk to us about the Indiana high school structure, what you like about it and what you don't like about it, and maybe what you want to see change.
Well, I love Indiana wrestling. I grew up in Illinois when it was 2 classes, and I thought that was good. And now it's 3. I wrestled down at Southern Illinois, and be often I would go watch or I'd hear about Missouri's wrestling, which is phenomenal. But there's like 5 or 6 classes, so I was always curious. Like, I think there's pluses and minuses to class wrestling. With class wrestling, a lot of kids get a lot of opportunities, which is phenomenal. Getting kids downstate, getting them on the podium, that's good for programs, that's good for kids. In Indiana wrestling, there's 1 class. So when you go to state, you're in that top 16. You're one of the best 16 kids in the state. When you're wrestling under the lights, you're in the, everyone in the state's watching. So when you got a state champion, you're the best kid in the state out of every kid. There's no class wrestling. There's no, well, what about if you wrestle that guy? You're the man. So I like 1 class wrestling. I think Indiana is known for its basketball. They take a lot of pride in basketball. But if you're in the state of Indiana, you take a lot of pride in being 1 class. Having that, people care about being in 1 class wrestling. It means a lot. Our team state's a little different. We used to have, when I was assistant coach, we won state under the old system. When we had team state, after the season would end, we'd have a 18-team tournament, and we'd compete. That was pretty cool. That was a cool experience. I got to participate in that a few times. Now we kind of like the NCAA tournament. We keep score at state, which that's fun too. If you're involved in that, if you're able to compete that high. Some years you go down there, you're like, shoot, after the first round, it's done for. So a coach from Indianapolis gave me a good tip. He goes, I said, do you ever watch the scoreboard? He goes, I'm not in first place. I'm not worried about it. So, because you only get, they only give out, everyone wants to be first. You get a nice trophy if you take second. We took 4th last year. You get nothing. 4th out of the entire state. So, but no, there's this, so that's how we do our state tournament. We do have our coaches association. They've put on a phenomenal team state. That'll be January 8th. We'll go down to Brownsburg High School and wrestle at Coach Snyder's school and wrestle them and all the other big boys. We do have team states broken down in a class system. So there's 4 classes in Indiana, which is pretty cool because I've seen the 1A class. So 4A is the big schools like us, Brownsburg, but the 1A schools and 2A schools, that's their opportunity to shine, and they bring it. I think Indiana has done a great job of the Coaches Association has done a great job promoting that event. The smaller schools, the 1A, the 2A schools, they have shown a lot of appreciation. They're posting rankings, and when they have team state, they show up. They are loud. That's the loudest mat in the gym. They're bringing, those are schools that are 300-400 in size, and they're bringing the entire town. So the class system in that sense is really good for the team aspect. But for the individual aspect, I really like the way we do our state finals. We have, the commissioner for our state always says, hey, we're gonna crown 14 state champions. There's not gonna be any woulda, coulda, shoulda. He's like, we're gonna have 14. That's always an exciting feeling too. He says that right at the start of the tournament. So that's always exciting, and every coach wants one or more of their guys to be one of those champions.
Yeah, it's impressive. Obviously we're from Michigan, 4 divisions, 4 different state champs every year. And, you have 32 different state placers every year at each weight class. So, states like California, states like Indiana, where have, 1 division or just 2 divisions, it definitely increases the competition. So we appreciate that. What's one thing Crown Point, or you think you guys do really, really well that you want to share with others?
I think one of the things we do really well is we get out there. We promote our sport. We promote our school, our town. Our town has I feel like most schools in Indiana are a basketball town, but I feel like Indiana, I feel like Crown Point's turned into a wrestling town. We make Wednesday nights when we wrestle. It doesn't make a difference if we wrestle the best school in our conference, our rival, or wrestling a school that's struggling. We put on a show. We wrestle the JV matches first, on 2 mats, and then we roll up a mat, we pull into the center, we put on the spotlight and play some music, and we make it an event. And we got little kids that are coming for the first time. I had one of my neighbors, he came to our last dual meeting. He's like, holy cow, that was like a prize fight. He goes, I didn't know you guys did that. That was awesome. So I think we take a lot of pride in putting wrestling on a pedestal and making an event. And that's what we're looking to do with the Carnahan this year. We want to make it a great event. We want top level teams to come in and say, hey, that was a good tournament. We want you guys from Michigan to come over and say, hey, that was a great tournament. We're coming back. So that's my goal. That's my vision. My coaches feel the same way. We want to wrestle the best of the best, and we want them to feel like, hey, yeah, that's a good quality tournament. They care about wrestling, so hopefully we can continue to do that. But I think making wrestling a big deal for the kids and for the parents is what we do well.
How else do you market it outside of, maybe a fantastic tournament? Are there certain things that you do to market your program in the community?
Yeah, obviously social media is big. So Facebook, Twitter. We started expanding a little bit. With our social media accounts. So, we got a booster club. Our booster club will promote things. We try to reach out and work with other groups. When we can, different charitable events. We haven't quite gotten in any of the parades yet, but that'll happen someday. But we like to get out there and we want to support other teams and other schools in our community just as much as we want them to support us. So I try to get our wrestlers out there and get them as much exposure as possible. Let them know that one of my big things is letting my wrestlers know that people care about you. We just did teacher appreciation night, and my guys don't realize, I'm like, hey, these teachers care about you. They worked all day, and then they came back at 7:00 to be honored, which is cool. And then they stayed until late to watch you wrestle. So just I try to let our team know that the community is watching them, and that they care. And I think when the boys know that, then it gives them a little bit more pride in not just wrestling, but also their school and the town.
That's a great point. Teacher appreciation night's a great way to do that. Military appreciation, youth night, right? Getting the elementary schools, the middle schools, the clubs out. Those are all great ways to promote your program and give back to the community. So, well, thank you for your time, Coach. We know you guys are going to be right in the thick of things come March and obviously January as well for the team state tournament. Mm-hmm. Good luck to you and your dogs, and stay healthy, and just thanks for joining us here at the Wrestling Vault. We really appreciate it.